Hi, I'm Sadie Barber. I'm the Partnership Manager for the Suffolk Safeguarding Partnership. I oversee the team that commissions safeguarding practice reviews for Suffolk. This video is to help you understand what a safeguarding practice review is and what it entails. I know from conversations with lots of professionals over the years that being invited to participate in a review can seem really daunting, especially if you've never been part of one before. But it needn't be, and during this video you'll hear from two frontline professionals who have been part of a review in the past and a reviewer, and what they talk about will be applicable to adults and children's reviews. After watching this, I hope you'll feel more confident in participating in a review yourself. So, safeguarding partnerships undertake reviews when statutory criteria has been met. Adults reviews are called Safeguarding Adults Reviews, or SARS for short, and children's reviews are called Local Child Safeguarding Practice Reviews, or LCSPRs for short. In this video we're just going to call them reviews for ease. The Safeguarding Partnership has an adults and a children's case review panel, and these panels take the decision on whether or not we undertake a review. The time frame to complete all of our reviews is usually between 3 to 6 months. So the purpose of any review is to establish whether there are lessons to be learnt about the way in which professionals and agencies work together to safeguard an adult or child at risk. It's not a criminal process, and it's not scrutiny of individual practice. It's purely about systems learning and identifying themes of common or repeated problems across our local systems. Usually, an independent reviewer is commissioned to lead a statutory review. This is always somebody with the relevant knowledge and expertise in the specific area relevant to the case, so for example, knowledge of learning disabilities. Sometimes we'll also use internal reviewers. These are professionals who work for one of the organisations in the partnership who are not directly connected to the case, but they have expert knowledge or skills to undertake the review for us. The whole process relies on complete honesty and good professional challenge between organisations to ensure that we get the best possible learning for people and their families. Reviewers will meet with professionals either by holding learning events where everyone involved in the case comes together, or through one-to-ones, whichever is most appropriate for the case. Reviewers are very sensitive to the fact that sometimes professionals are deeply affected by what has happened to a person that they have been working with. Sometimes there are other processes that run alongside a review. This can be things such as criminal investigations or domestic homicide reviews. Families are always central and will always be involved as much and wherever possible to place them at the heart of a review. So when the review is complete and all professionals and the family are happy with the identified learning, we then move to action planning. And the case review panels will monitor progress until all of those actions are complete. Each of the partners involved are responsible for ensuring that learning from reviews is embedded within their individual organisations. The Safeguarding Partnership publishes all statutory reviews unless there's a reason why it would be considered inappropriate to do so, such as the possible impact on the subject of the review if they're alive, any impact on family members or others who may be affected by the case. Sometimes we'll use pseudonyms to protect identities.
My name's Caroline Hughes and I'm a social worker. I've been part of 2 practice reviews, once when in a practice manager role in a child in need team and once in this service manager role. One of these was due to the tragic death of a baby and another due to a child receiving injuries whilst being cared for by a kinship carer. It's safe to say that alongside feeling desperately sad for the child and their family, there was also apprehension and worry as to what the review would look like and the purpose. The social workers in particular were concerned about feeling blamed when they were already holding a lot of guilt and emotion regarding these children. What was really helpful was having a discussion with those leading the reviews to gain an understanding of the purpose, the format and how the outcome would be shared. As a manager, I was then able to reassure the social workers involved in the process. I was part of the reviews too and can honestly say that it felt like a collaborative learning and reflective journey. This was absolutely not about proportioning blame, but about making sure we had the right systems in place and what changes may be needed to our practice to ensure the safeguarding of the children that we work with. We each met with the person leading the review one-to-one, which gave us space to be really honest and to think about the timeline of our involvement and the decision making. It was an opportunity to drill down on the decisions made and the rationale behind them. It felt like a really helpful, reflective space to consider what we would do differently in the future, what processes need to be reviewed, and what immediate changes could be made to ensure that such tragedies did not occur again. How the media portrays social workers and the culture of blame within the press adds to that sense of feeling responsible when a child dies or is injured at the hands of their primary carer. And it's easy to forget that it was that person who made the decision to injure or kill that child. As a manager, I made sure that there was formal support in place if required, such as the counselling that can be accessed through the Employer Assistance Programme, but also holding a reflective session with the social worker and their supervisor. We used this space to talk about how they were feeling, the emotional impact the situation had upon them, and what support may be needed, but also to hold that space and think about that child. We also thought about what we'd do differently and what needed to be implemented or changed within the team to ensure that we negated these risks as much as possible in the future. It was an important opportunity too for the social worker to talk about how they were starting to second guess their own decisions and assessments now, and that it had really knocked their confidence in their ability as a social worker. When we had the review with the outcomes and the recommendations, we spent some time reflecting upon this and discussing them, and the teams went through them in their team meetings as a learning tool. My advice would be that in such a sad situation as the death or a serious injury of a child, you're already in a space of feeling upset, stressed, and possibly lacking in confidence. So overthinking the reviewing process and having this as an added stress factor is honestly not necessary. As I've said, it's really important, a great opportunity for collaborative learning and reflection, and to ensure that our processes are as robust as possible. It's also important to remember the positive difference that you have made and continue to make with children and their families in your social work role.
Hello, my name is Lorenza Chishaya and I am a professional advisor for the West Locality, Suffolk County Council. I've been part of 2 practice reviews, both of which was when I was a safeguarding social worker and I was in the adult protection team. In both instances, the adults had sadly passed away prior to my involvement, so a Section 42 had been raised under the Care Act for P. The challenge I found in both instances was adhering to making safeguarding personal, managing expectations of and for the family, and making clear recommendations of areas of learning that were realistic. In both instances, I completed the Section 42 inquiry. The first one, I completed it jointly with Health. We worked well together. The adult, who I'll call P in this instance, had sadly passed away with concerns of self-neglect, and that the professionals around him did not raise concerns. Due to the nature of the concerns, we had to go back 2 years prior to P's death. Once my health colleague and I had completed the inquiry, working closely with the family, which was really heartbreaking, we had to present our findings to the Safeguarding Adults Review panel. And from that, a learning event was organised with all relevant professional bodies who had worked with P. I then completed a visit with P's mother and fed back the learning and offered comfort. As this was my first time, I really nearly forgot that I was a social worker, and I just wanted to comfort her and hug her and console her really, because she was distraught. But the support that I got while I was undertaking the inquiry and even after undertaking the inquiry was helpful. So my key learning from this inquiry was the importance of good recording and the importance of professional curiosity and the importance of communication, because there was difficulties in communicating. The partner organizations were all aware and all had concerns, but they didn't always communicate together. So my advice to anybody who is undertaking a review, because it starts off with a Section 42, is be thorough, follow the evidence, because it's evidence-led practice, and be very clear on your findings. So that would be my advice to anybody who needs to undertake one. And there's a lot of support. And the last bit of advice I would give is utilize supervision. Supervision was where I could explore my thoughts, where I could explore my rationale, and I could also explore my evidence. And that really helped to make my reports tight and my reports very clear. Thank you.